Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, we're going to have another fun interview episode where I've taken one of my friends, that I've grown up with in the anime, and we went to conventions together. Today, we're going to have a little talk with my friend Sheldon. Okay, Sheldon's one of my friends that I sort of met really early when I was getting into Japanese animation. Again, he's really a really close friend that really helped me out because he said that he himself understands a little more and has a bit of background with Japanese. And we went together down to San Diego Comic Con, and even before Anime Expo and that kind of stuff came out, he was again went down to some of the really early trips down before we had these sort of road trips going on. So that was really kind of good. So we're gonna have some talk about the various different things and that and whatnot. And I'll post some little pictures and that kind of stuff, and we'll sort of go over some of the stories that we have over that. Okay, so before we begin, reminder when to go down below, click like and click subscribe. I now have turned on my Patreon page as well, which now contains material that is not especially as suitable for YouTube consumption and that kind of stuff. So I've managed to put it all together on a page of that, as well as it gives you an opportunity to request and do different things on there. So again, you can have ability to check that out. A link is below. Feel free to take a look at that as well. Okay, as well. If any of the people like to support me, I also have activated various different things on the YouTube, including the thanks button as well down below. All right, so again, I don't require it, but again, if anyone is interested in that, I have that available. All right. Okay, so today's topic is another interview. So what I'll do is let's go ahead to the pictures and sort of go explain it from there. All right. So without further delay, let's begin. Did you get anything signed that year?
No, I get.
Did you set up or anything like that? No.
I'm just here to sweat them.
You were going after the
Yeah,
voice.
I just voices.
Well, there was a lot of them around there because I think that was the year where they started doing the using porn stars as the voice actors, for the head ties and stuff.
Yeah, they're using them as models and everything.
Yeah. Okay, the point that Sheldon was making a note here was that at this time, one of the most popular methods of getting attention to your convention booth is to use models or actors and that kind of stuff to basically set yourself up because you think you're on the convention floor. And if you can kind of imagine, you're kind of walking through each of the various different booths and that kind of stuff, and you kind of every booth starts looking the same, right? And especially if you go to someplace really big like San Diego Comic Con, where there's literally 1,000 different vendors, different booths, right? You have to stick out somehow. You gotta make it so that as soon as the person looks over to your booth, there's action going on. There's something of interest, something eye-catching, right? And so one of the ways that a lot of people do at this time was to use models or famous actors or even porn stars, right? Because they're usually fairly well built, and they would either cosplay them up as a character, so that people would go say, oh, you're dressed up as Vampiralia or ISIS or something or whatever, and then you can, they'll come up to they'll ask you to take pictures, and then they'll just sit there and make lots of smiles and look nice and basically garner attention, so that when someone walks by, you can look at it and go, oh, okay, something's cool going on, or wow, she looks pretty nice or whatever, and then and so Sheldon makes an illusion that there's a lot at this time of models and that kind of stuff from Penthouse magazine, Playboy, Hustler, and those type of magazines would show up at these conventions, and they would basically be modeling or doing some kind of thing with a particular comic or a particular company or whatever, right? This also was sort of, although it was more towards the late 90s, where the hentai animes and that kind of stuff were starting to become a big thing. Even Hustler magazine has its own anime hentai section, and they started releasing hentai animes. And some of the things that they used to do, along with New Tech, what they did is to to garnish more popularity, shall we say, or more kind of diverse the market, was to start getting porn actors to voice act in the animes, right? So it's like, I guess it would make the the certain scenes more realistic. I guess. Yeah, sure. I guess that I guess that's the thing to voice act those better. I guess. Anyway, so that was the big thing now. So now those particular companies could bring the porn stars over, and they could sit them at the table, and they can dress really really loose, as it were. And then that would get people to come up and ask for signatures or pictures or whatever, things like that. And that was what the thing that was happening, not only with just anime but also in the comic book business, because again, it's very easy to get some famous person or whatever to come over and dress up as whatever, Batgirl. I said Vampirella was really popular. She-Ra, Isis, things like this. All were all very very popular characters that they would cosplay. The company or the representing company would just cosplay them up, and then they'd just stand in front of the booth and maybe just hand out little flyers and smile, and when people come up and say, can I take a picture or whatever, and she go, oh yeah, okay, sure, whatever, and then you could take pictures of that, and basically it drew people to your booth, and it helped do that. Again, they probably don't do that much anymore because it's not PQ anymore, but it's it was one of the methods that was really commonly used at conventions at this time. Well, that was the big thing, right? Just get a model, let's cosplay him up, and to just stand him up in front of the booth and.
Yeah, no, it's because because of what's her name? Oh, Pamela Anderson.
Oh, Pamela Anderson. Okay.
No, they were using Pamela Anderson as a model for Barbarella. Right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That I didn't know. Okay.
So and then they had the rest of the other ones had to create more characters.
Strange. I actually might have that issue of the comic.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, because I remember when I was doing all the orders for ordering comics and that kind of stuff. That was the time where they would release like a regular issue, right? Regular artwork, regular whatever. They would release a variant cover, which is usually the smuttier cover, but but usually drawn by different artists or whatever.
Yes.
But same contents inside. And then they'd have a third variant cover, where it might be like an actual photo cover.
Right.
So they get a model or whatever, take a smutty picture for that and stick that on the cover.
Right.
Because they did that for what, like Vampirella, all those things, She and Gen 13 and whatever other crap they were releasing at that time. They were trying to capitalize a lot on essentially, let's keep the same issue, like the same magazine, but we're just gonna put a new cover on it and make you pay the same price over again.
Yeah.
Essentially. Okay, so the talk of the alternate covers and that kind of stuff really comes into mind here. I did an episode about this back in episode 6 about autographs and that kind of stuff, and so I'm going to talk about the story of my alternate covers. So there was this magazine or a comic that I followed because I followed a lot of Image and Wildstorm and all these other kind of independent comic companies. And the one of the sort of kind of I remember was a comic called The Tenth Muse. Okay, the story is written by a Marv Wolfman, and Ken Lashley is the artist for it, right? Um, so what I really liked about it is that this is one of these comics that has, shall we say, a regular cover with regular artwork in the inside, right? And what it'll do is it'll produce a whole bunch of alternate covers, right? So a different artist would come in and would draw the cover for it or whatever to give a different sort of thing. And this is again sort of happens at a time where, you know, anime is starting to come in a little bit. So some people are trying to draw these sort of anime looking like covers, right? So to try to bait the people into that are interested in anime and that kind of stuff, and and get some other famous artists to help in, and also increase the sales on the comic. That's but and of course there's also photo covers as well. So they get some famous model or something to come in, and they cosplay her up as the one of the characters in the comic, and then they put that on the cover. Now again, remember, the inside of the comic is all the same, okay, for these issues, right? So, and so I've collected a bunch of these, and when I went to the con, I remember buying extra copies of like the alternate covers, because sometimes the local comic store didn't have the alternate covers, or I didn't end up ordering the extra covers or whatever. It didn't come in or whatever, right? So that that happens. So going to the Comic Con definitely allows me to find these things. Anyway, so one of the things that I remember doing when I was walking around the con, and this was 1998 San Diego Comic Con. One of the things my strategies is when going to the con is you go up and down each of the aisles, right? All the the various different aisles. And at this time, I think there's literally 20. There's probably over 20 aisles, 25 aisles of booths, right? So you have to go to. There's literally 1,000 tables of stuff that you got to go through, right? So you're basically you're circulating through a lot of tables in here. Anyway, so I just remember I kind of finished the main floor, and I'm going into what they refer to as the artist alley area, where I guess artists set up tables and that kind of stuff and show off their work or do things or whatever. Anyway, so I'm walking along, and again I immediately spot this one table, and they had a bunch of these 10th Muse comics out, right? And so I thought, okay, yeah, so he must be one of the artists, doing the comics. So I go up there, and I strike up a conversation with the guy, obviously, and I tell him, oh yeah, this is 10th Muse, it's really good. I really like the cover, and great artwork, that kind of stuff, and the guy kind of goes, go, thank you. What do you think of the story? And I'm thinking, okay. Well, the story's okay, really, I don't realize I didn't really follow the story because I didn't really care about the artwork that was in the inside, so I didn't really sort of care about that, but I said, it's alright, it's good, but I really like the cover. I mean, the cover is like, the best, and that's what I really, really liked, right? And the guy goes, well, what about the story? What do you think of the story? I thought, well, superhero kind of, magical girl, or girls with power type of thing. Yeah, it's it's not, it's not my thing, but whatever. But I'm glad because of the visual appeal, right? And so I'm kind of getting this really negative vibe from this guy. It's just like kind of looking at me kind of funny, and I kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say a thanks. I'm just gonna move on because I don't want to spend too much time with this guy. And I didn't have any, have my comics or anything for him to sign or anything. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna move on. All right. So I just kind of said, keep writing up and keep up the good artwork, right? And then I just sort of walked away. And then I later found out, when I was talking to some other people, and look at the comic book, and now doing at this time, doing all the extra research, and I didn't realize that the guy, okay, who was at the table, either was not like he wasn't the artist for the cover. he was the artist of the comic inside, or the writer of the thing inside, right? So basically, he's trying to get, he was getting at trying to figure out whether, whether I like the story or like the artwork inside, which I didn't, right? And I was, basically telling him, I didn't care about it. I thought the inside was like crap, and it is crap. But but the artwork, the anime artwork, and that kind of stuff that was on the cover is what I really liked, right? So I'm sure the guy, if I kept talking to the guy and probably really dug in deep and I really told him what I really thought of the inside of the book, the stuff in the comic, the stuff that he probably wrote or drew. He probably would have jumped over the table and tried and throttled me, right? So I was gonna think I backed away and just was like, yeah, I'm gonna move on now, bye. And so that's my close encounter with a comic called 10th Muse. And so when you get into these, as I said, artist alley people, and especially in this kind of situation, you don't actually really know what the guy artist actually is and what it is. Because when I came across the table, I didn't know that this guy was a different artist than the cover artist. So anyway, interesting lesson to know when you go to Comic-Con. To keep that in mind. That's what I was saying. It's not like the simple days back when we were playing North Atlantic 86 or something.
Yeah, but those are better games. Those
are absolutely fun games, right? Just okay, yeah,
those are better games.
Trying to knock out all the Russian vloggers and.
Those are much better.
Yeah, North Atlantic 86. I remember that was a good game. I remember I used to always play Guadalcanal on the Apple.
Oh yeah.
Battle of Normandy.
I've been looking for it. Yeah, I threw out too much on those two. I should have gone your way and kept it transferred everything onto those.
Well, at least for Apple II, there's still the Mac can do an emulation of the Apple II, and a lot of the Apple II floppy diskettes are still available. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I just, unfortunately, I don't think I have all the cheat fixes on on some of them, because I remember I did for SSI. I think I remember doing War in Russia and Battle of Normandy. Guadalcanal, another one. Maybe I can't remember the name of it, but I remember I spent some time going into the code and trying to figure out what.
You hex edited?
Some of them, I did. Yeah. Some of the hex edited.
How did you figure out open that section up?
Oh, it's hard. It was basically you had to look. You had to basically know where it was on the disk.
Right.
Figure out where the data was stored on the disk, and then you pull a disk editor that allows you to go in by hex, and then hex edit the thing, and then save it back on that sector of the disk. And so it was tough, but that's how you did cheats back then, right? You had to edit the code, right? Literally, and there's this. I know in Battle for Normandy, I built a hidden code in there because I remember the menu for the allies was 1 through 7. Okay, you did all the options that you can do to your forces, right? But I made an option 8 and an option 9. It's not on the list, right? But option 8 was reinforce all the units. So basically, went through all your units that are active, and basically brought all their reinforcement values back up to 100%. So they're all resupplied and refueled. Okay, and then I had option 9, which was reinforce and heal all forces. So that all the forces were all resupplied and all the forces went from 100, from whatever health they were up, back up to 100% health. So what you do is like, so the advance was basically they would advance into, like, let's say Russia or something, right? You push back the Russian forces and that kind of stuff all the way back to at least, like, Moscow, to basically the gates of Moscow, right? And then that's when winter's supposed to happen, right? And then that's when
you're supplying the nation,
it goes all the way down. So then what you do is then, I hit like number 8 or number 9 or whatever, and then basically be like, all the forces all of a sudden all resupply. And so when the Russians do the counteroffensive, they let you hit a brick wall. It's like, yeah. Well, I guess that is effective. So that basically, once once the winter turns finish, then you basically had no resistance left in the line. You just kept rolling forward. But yeah, I remember just doing things like that. I'm pretty sure in the game you weren't supposed to be able to do, like, basically, make it all the way into, like, Russia, like, that far into the map.
Right.
Basically, when the game started bugging out and going, what the hell do now? Because, like, yeah, it's so funny when it
No, because all the games, at most, they will give you is you stop at right at the Prussian Polish border. That's outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Guadalcanal. That was really funny too. Is I remember what we do is when we were playing the game, I mapped out the route of the Japanese carrier force, right? And then basically what I did is I broke the carrier task force and into basically a fast cruiser destroyer force, right? And then basically I plotted a course so that it would meet up with the carrier task force and basically do a surface combat with them. That's like totally cheating, but but that was one of the fun things that we used to do, just like so. Use the carriers as a decoy. They just gotta send them out there. They usually do pretty well. Okay, so I hope you find that kind of interesting. Again, tend to have some more different people and that kind of stuff in my past that has gone and done different things with anime. And we'll do more shows where we go through some more pictures and more stories about how it was like, during the very early stages of, the Japanese animation fandom here in North America as it was growing. Okay, so I have a database of all the different various episodes of the history of fan anime made, and then you can go through that and it's organized in chapters for you, so that you can go and check out different episodes which are related to how the history of how anime was sort of started up, and basically what the lifestyle and different things were back in the late 80s and the early 90s, including pictures of what my room used to look like back in those times, and you'll see that go through more of these photographs from that particular time. All right, so until next time, I will see you again.